Have you ever sat down to relax and somehow ended up feeling guilty? Like you finally have a moment to yourself and instead of enjoying it, your brain immediately starts thinking about everything that you have to do. The laundry, emails, errands, all of the goals that you haven't finished yet. And before you know it, you're back up doing something productive because rest felt uncomfortable. If that's you, I want you to know that you're not alone. And honestly, I don't think the problem is that you don't know how to rest. I think a lot of us was never taught how to feel safe resting, and that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tierra if you're new here, and on this channel we talk about what it actually looks like to glow from the inside out. Not just through routines or habits, but through healing, mindset shifts, nervous system regulation, and learning how to create a life that actually feels good to live. And if you've ever struggled to slow down, relax, or take a break without feeling guilty, this conversation is for you. I've always been the type of person who felt guilty when I rested. For years, I lived in survival mode. My brain was always running an endless to-do list. There was always something that needed to be done, fixed, or completed. When I was working in corporate, I was stressed all the time. Even when I wasn't working on the weekends, I felt like there was always something for me to do. I felt like I was always playing a game of catch up. And even my fiance would make jokes about me not being able to sit down and relax. And to be honest, I used to be jealous of him because he could sit down and relax and watch his favorite TV show on the weekends, but I never felt comfortable doing that. I thought staying busy meant that I was getting ahead, but in reality, I was exhausted. My nervous system never got a break and my body was constantly carrying stress. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I had built my entire life around survival. And if any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know that you don't have to stay stuck in that cycle. Learning how to rest was honestly a process for me, and it didn't happen overnight, and it especially wasn't as simple as telling myself to relax. I had to change the way that I was living, the way I was thinking, and how I viewed rest overall. So today I'm going to share a few things that helped me go from feeling guilty every time I slowed down to actually being able to rest without feeling like I should be doing something else. The first tip that I have is so important. You need to regulate your nervous system. You're living in survival mode, and I have been doing the same for years. When you're in survival mode, your body is constantly scanning for the next thing that needs your attention. The next task, the next problem, the next thing to fix. You're always mentally somewhere in the future, thinking about what's next, instead of being in the present moment. And when that's been your norm for a long time, slowing down can feel uncomfortable. Not because rest is wrong, but because your body has got used to being in a constant state of doing. One of the biggest things that helped me was learning how to be present again. That meant going for walks, working out, stretching, just being in my body. I had to learn to notice where I was in the present moment instead of constantly thinking about where I needed to be. Because rest becomes a lot easier when your body feels safe. And for most of us, that's the work. Not learning to do less, but teaching our nervous system that it's safe to slow down. The second thing I had to do was take an honest look about what I actually believed about rest. Because most of us don't realize that we have limiting beliefs around it. We just believe that our thoughts are true. For me, I had attached my worth to productivity. I believed that if I wasn't doing something, I wasn't being productive. And if I wasn't being productive, that meant I was falling behind. But maybe your belief sounds different. Maybe you believe that resting is lazy. Maybe you believe that you have to earn rest. Maybe you believe that everyone else's needs have to come before your own. But whatever the belief is, it's important to identify it because your beliefs shape your behavior. If you believe that rest is selfish, you'll avoid it. If you believe that rest is lazy, you'll feel guilty doing it. And if you're like most of us and believe that your worth comes from what you accomplish, you'll never feel like you've done enough. Because once you identify the belief, you'll be able to challenge it. And that's where change begins. This is probably the biggest shift for me. I stopped believing that rest had to be a reward. So long, I believed that I could rest after everything was done. But the problem was, everything was never done. There was always another task, another goal, another thing to improve on. And because of that, rest kept getting pushed further and further away. What helped me was realizing that rest isn't something you earn, it's something you need. The same way you need water, sleep, and food, rest supports the version of you you're trying to become. It helps you think clearly, regulate your emotions. It helps your body recover. It helps you show up better in every area of your life. And once I stopped viewing rest as something I had to deserve, everything started changing for me. So if you're someone anyone who struggles to slow down, I want you to know that you're not broken. You don't need to learn how to become more productive. You may actually just need to learn how to rest without guilt. If this video resonated with you, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment rest below. Also, I would love to know what is one belief that you had about rest that you're working on changing. And if you're ready to get out of survival mode, rebuild self-trust, and create more peace in your life, check out the Inner Glow workbook linked in the description below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.